Opening round action at the WM, and there's always action out in the desert. Scotty Scheffler slow to start, 2 over here on number 10 as he eyes his approach from the fairway bunker, and oh my goodness. Nothing should surprise you, and it doesn't surprise him. Scheffler holes out for eagle there at the par 4 10th to get back to even par. An up and down day with some other on the card for Scheffler. Head scratching to some, but still a 2 under 69, 5 off the lead that belongs to Wyndham Clark. We are through 18 in Phoenix. CBS Sports golf analyst Rick Gehman in to assess through 18. Rick, we'll obviously get to some Scotty here. I want to start at the top of that leaderboard because you think of Wyndham Clark and the skill set that he brings to any course, and it just feels like a course fit out here in Phoenix. Do the numbers bear that out?
It does, Joe. He's played well here in the past, but also the way that he got it done in the opening round. He was top 10 in both strokes gained approach and strokes gained putting, which is exactly what the eye test said as well. He hit a lot of approaches close, and he made a lot of putts. Now, I want to mention that is probably the most volatile skill set combination that any golfer can have. When that goes well, it goes really well, and we saw that in the opening round with Wyndham Clark getting out to the first round lead. But when that goes sour and you're not hitting it close and you're not making putts, you're actually at the other end of the leaderboard, which is what we've seen Wyndham Clark do over the course of the last 6 or 8 months. He has not had a lot of great finishes. He is rarely in contention, but when he is in contention, he has that winning upside, Joe.
Yeah, not many notable moments from a title defense last week at Pebble, albeit a year ago it was an abridged tournament there at Pebble Beach. A 3-round win. They are wins nonetheless. Rick, let's talk about the lead for most of the day. That belonged to Justin Thomas. 5 under out early in the morning, and he continues to carry this form that we used to expect from JT. Is the data set large enough right now? Not to say he's back, but that he is trending back towards that player he once was.
Yeah, let's do it. He's back, baby. I think it is. I think it is big enough. Now, I'm very bullish on Justin Thomas in 2025. He is, to me, one of the elite ball strikers that we have on the planet. The putter, despite rolling this long putt in here, can still be a problem. I think he's playing with a little bit of fire right now, Joe. He only hit 5 fairways in the opening round, and when you miss at TPC Scottsdale, a lot of time you end up in the desert, and at the mercy of the desert, you can end up in a water hazard just a yard or 2 off of the fairway. So he got away without putting up a big number in the opening round, and he also had like his 2nd or 3rd best putting round of his career at TPC Scottsdale. He gained nearly 2.5 strokes to the field. So these are things that are not necessarily repeatable moving forward. He's not going to gain 2.5 shots every single day on the putting greens, and if he misses more fairways than he hits over the course of the week, I'm worried about it, but so far so good.
I love to point to it. 2 years ago in the desert, Rick Gehman spitting hot takes here on HQ at the back of the range as Justin Thomas was apparently losing his game. We were actively watching him search for something there at the back of the range. Would be poetic in a sense if this is where he finally found it once again. Scotty Scheffler usually doesn't have to look too far for it if it escapes him. It was escaping him through his front 9 here. More squares than we've come to expect from Scotty Scheffler, and you used volatility as a word for the stat profile of our leader here in Wyndham Clark. Not often we use volatility or variance when we talk about Scotty Scheffler, but that feels like an appropriate word for his day today.
Absolutely. This was erratic, and that is a phrase I've never used for Scotty Scheffler. You see it very slow out of the gates, and then he erases all of it here by doing what we would expect from Scotty Scheffler, holing out from a fairway bunker. Sure, why not? But still, just 2 holes later, he would make a double bogey at number 12. So he was clearly not in complete control of his game in the opening rounds. Now, the good news for him is that he still was able to put 2 eagles on the card. He was still able to get this under par. I thought he still hit a couple of good putts that did not go in. Then kind of the greens got to him a little bit. So I thought he putted better than the stats would bear out. So I'm still very optimistic about the way the final 3 rounds go for Scotty Scheffler. But this was one that we don't see very often.
He was a prohibitive favorite coming into this tournament. We'll see if it'll be a late surge as it was for Rory McIlroy a week ago, but it did take some weather there as well. And I only offer all of that to ask this. How does TPC Scottsdale defend itself this week? We are not going to get the weather that we got at Pebble and we got at Torrey. Do you see this place baking out and offering a test on Saturday and Sunday?
I do, Joe. So there's a couple of lines of defense here. There's the built-in defense, which is the way that Tom Weiskopf designed basically the second 9 and the way that water weaves in and out of these holes and big numbers coming into play. That is the built-in defense. But the way that I'm already seeing number 16 specifically, like that thing is hard and fast. The balls are bouncing high. It's getting that sheen to it already early in the week. The grounds crew at TPC Scottsdale, the PGA Tour, they can have this thing as firm and fast as they want by the time that we get to Sunday afternoon. I hope they let it go. Don't put a drop of water on this thing over the course of the next 3 days. I'm sure they're going to do a little bit more than that. But yeah, that would be the way that this is setting up to go for this weekend.
It is the desert. Let the desert be the desert. We'll see how much water they give it, as green is the color there at the WM Phoenix Open. We shall see if it's brown by the end of the week. We do allow for you to come back to the board here and reassess. I was not fortunate enough to do the preview with you. I don't know who your pick was, Rick Gehman, if you want to offer that. And if you want to pivot, who was your pick through 18?
Well, the good news is they're both the same player, because the pre-tournament selection was Tom Kim. And at 4 under par, there is no real reason to move off of that. I like the way that this golf course sets up for him. I like the way that he showed a little bit of grit in his opening round. He made a couple of really strong par saves. I'm thinking about number 16 specifically from the greenside bunker. I thought that he left a couple of shots out there, and he did hit some putts that weren't very good, Joe. But what I did see from him was a golfer who was keeping it in play, who is taking advantage of the par 5s, who is making the easy birdies. And I think there's still a lot of juice to squeeze out of the rest of his game over the next 3 rounds.
I am just glad you do not stand over your answers as long as Tom Kim stands over the ball. Could make for a long weekend, but Tom Kim certainly has the skill to pull one of these off. Rick Gehman, we appreciate you, as always, stopping by here through 18 holes at the WM. The thrilling conclusion coming your way at the industry leader of golf broadcasts. Yes, CBS and Paramount Plus, our award-winning team. All the sights, the sounds, angles you haven't seen coming your way Saturday and Sunday in Phoenix.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you.
Big news coming out of the NFL. A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
With highlights.
What a finish at the final round of play.
And in-depth analysis.
Can they three-peat? Tony Romo joins the conversation.
What can you say about this game?
When you need your sports in a snap,
we're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
Find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.